How has he done in this last year? What's it been like to live in this country and to have him as Prime Minister and his government? Call in and tell me, are you happy with this government and how they've run the country and run the economy during this pandemic? Or are you seriously depressed? Did you vote Conservative and you regret voting Conservative? Did you vote Labour or not vote Labour? How did you feel about the fact that Boris Johnson won that election? Please call me and tell me. And when you call, just bear in mind, and this is my view on what Boris Johnson's been up, but do you know what? Because people will say I'm partisan, I'm going to stick to the facts of how Boris Johnson has run this country. Well, let's start with the most obvious facts. The facts are that we're now well over 60,000 people having died in this pandemic, the worst in the European Union, the worst death rate in the European Union. Our economy has had a massive drop in GDP, minus 9%, standing at the moment the worst in the G7. So that's one record that we can attach to Boris Johnson. But then there have been several U-turns. Do you remember we were told that there would be mass community test, track and trace? We were told that on the 12th of March, 2020. My God, how many months did it take to get anything like a test, track and trace system up and running? And it's still not as good as it needs to be, and it doesn't rely sufficiently on local communities. Do you remember the visa surcharge that they threatened to impose on foreign nationals that work in the NHS, and the backbone of the NHS, and the U-turn that they had to do on that visa surcharge? Do you remember how they responded to Marcus Rashford's first campaign to give kids free school meals out of school time? They rejected it and then had to do a U-turn in the middle of it. Do you remember the NHS app? Many of us warned them, don't come up with your own app. Use the one that Apple have provided, that most nations have gone with. They were pig-headed about it. We had trials in the Isle of Wight and all over the rest of it. And guess what? They did a U-turn on the NHS app and it came months later. What about face coverings in shops and the confusion about whether we're going to have face coverings or not have face coverings, and the U-turn they did on that? Remember the exam results? Don't forget Frank Spencer, Gavin Williamson, and the way he handled those A-level results and those students and the back and forth and the heartache across the country. That's all on Boris Johnson's watch. The eviction ban, the second lockdown, the tier system, the furlough extension that Rishi Sunak said he wouldn't have, and then we had that. God, and then there was Marcus Rashford for the second time and the U-turn that they had to do on that. So that's his record over the last year, and I've stuck to the facts of Boris Johnson. I've not been partisan. I've just talked about the U-turns that we've had in this last year.